The whole Epstein file is just an obvious example of how much white privilege really exists. You have all these elite people, and all the elite people are what? White.
Bruh, I've been staring at this whole Epstein list moment, and I'm not even gonna lie. Something feels off. And nah, I don't mean off like I'm shocked rich people are nasty. I'm talking about the reaction around it. Cause the second certain names pop up, everybody turns into a philosopher overnight. Everybody got a lab coat on. Everybody got a calm voice. Now let's be fair. Now let's not generalize. Now we need nuance. And I'm sitting here like,
do you see me laughing, my nigga?
Oh, word? Y'all know nuance now? You just discovered nuance like it's a new iPhone update. Because I've watched the internet for years. And when it's certain people, it don't be nuance. It be judgment. It be labels. It be a whole group catching heat for one headline. That's what I want to talk about. Not who's guilty off a screenshot. Not let me join the mob. I want to talk about the rule switch, the double standard, the way people suddenly act careful when it's convenient. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let me set this straight before somebody clips me on purpose. I'm not convicting anybody off a list. I'm not doing that.
We don't do that here.
If your whole worldview is name on paper equals guilt, you're going to get played for the rest of your life. And that's the trap people fall into every single time. Somebody posts a collage, somebody drops a thread, somebody says it's in the files, and folks start talking like it's a court verdict. Nah, that ain't justice. That's entertainment. What I'm breaking down is the framing, the language people use, the way the mainstream talks, the way the internet talks, and how those two things magically line up when it's time to protect somebody or time to throw somebody to the wolves. Because you can hate evil and still be smart. You can want accountability and still not turn your brain off. I'm here to keep the brain on, even when it's uncomfortable. Here's the rule switch in one sentence. When it's black people, we all get lumped into the same category. When it's white people, they get portrayed as individuals. Like it's never white culture did this. It's always a disturbed person, a loner, somebody with issues, somebody who fell through the cracks.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
It's always a story that protects the group image. But when it's us, the headline don't even be done yet, and people already got the think pieces locked and loaded. This is what y'all do. This is why y'all, you know the rest. That's why I say some folks be offended by everything, ashamed of nothing. And then they turn around and lecture everybody about morality like they're the standard. And the Epstein moment exposed that whole game. Because you could literally watch people change their tone in real time.
1 minute it's outrage.
Next minute it's, well, actually, suddenly they remember nuance. I'm tired, bruh. Let me show you how it works. The language always shifts to protect the group image. I remember watching it happen with my own eyes online. It went from, don't let the white kid reach into his backpack to, don't let the quiet kid reach into his backpack.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. I'm saying.
Same fear, same panic. Just a safer label, because quiet is an individual trait. White is an identity, and they don't like that mirror. They'll swap words so fast your head spin. It becomes not race, class. It becomes not identity, mental health. It becomes not the group, just this one person. And look, some of that can be true. Mental health matters, class matters, all that. But why does it only become the focus when it's convenient? That's the question. Because when it's convenient, suddenly we're all scientists. But when it's not convenient, it's straight to labels and jokes and group blame like it's nothing. That's why this topic ain't even about the list. It's about what the list reveals about people.
This is where the hypocrisy really starts showing its teeth,
because a lot of people don't actually want accountability. They want the feeling of it. They want the rush. They want the moral high. They want to feel clean without doing anything hard. People love to perform disgust. They love to post, this is evil. They love to act like they're the last righteous person on earth. But the second the smoke touches their side, their tone changes. Their energy gets polite. Their voice gets soft. Their words get careful. That's selective outrage. Outrage when it's convenient. Outrage when it's trendy. Outrage when it won't cost you friends, sponsors, status, or comfort. But when it might cost you something, now it's less weight. Now it's we need context. Now it's we don't want to generalize. And what makes it nastier is how people act like they don't see themselves doing it. They'll lecture everybody about morality, about how we need to be better, about how society is broken. Then when their own house looks messy, it's why you making it about identity. It's why you being divisive. It's you're the real problem for noticing it. That's what I mean when I say some folks are offended by everything, ashamed of nothing. They are offended if you point it out, offended if you name the pattern, offended if you don't play the game quietly, but ashamed, nah, no shame, no reflection, no accountability, just deflection. And I'm not saying don't be angry. Be angry. I'm angry too. I'm saying direct that anger with discipline, because sloppy anger helps the system. Sloppy anger gives them the excuse to dismiss you. You ever notice how quick people become reasonable when the villain looks like them, talks like them, votes like them, worships like them? That's not reason. That's loyalty. That's protection. That's group image management. And when you see that, you start realizing the outrage isn't random. It's assigned. It's distributed. It's controlled by what people are allowed to say out loud. That's why this story always ends with the same result. Heat for a week, think pieces for a month, forgetting by the next season. Now here's the move that sounds smart, but I watch how it gets used. The list starts circulating, people start getting uncomfortable, and suddenly the new slogan is, this isn't about race, it's about class.
Fuck you, bitch. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Back the fuck up. If I knock the fuck out you. Damn, man. Hey.
And listen, class matters. Power matters. Money matters. I'm not denying that, but I'm also not blind, because it's funny how class becomes the safe exit door at the exact moment race would make folks look in the mirror. The elites is a comfortable enemy. Everybody can hate the elites. It's vague. It's abstract. It doesn't require you to confront your own biases. You can tweet down with the elites and still go to brunch feeling like a hero. But the second you say, hold up, why do y'all treat one group like individuals and another group like a category? Now the room gets cold. Now people start calling you divisive. Now they start calling you hateful. Now they start acting like you were the one introducing the problem. That's why I call it an escape hatch. Not because class is fake, because people use class talk to avoid admitting they switch rules depending on whose identity is on the screen. Here's the truth. When it's us, it gets treated like identity, like culture, like a moral stain that spreads. When it's them, it becomes systems, bad apples, mental health, complexity, nuance, and then class. Like, bruh, I'm watching the exact same folks who never gave nuance to anybody suddenly become scholars. Suddenly they got a whole thesis on why we should be careful with language. I'm like, where was this careful energy last year? Where was it when it was time to protect somebody else's humanity?
Shit, I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you that. Like,
and I'll go one deeper. Even the elite label can become a way to protect the average person from accountability, because now you can pretend the only problem is some cartoon villains at the top instead of admitting everyday society participates in the framing too. It's not either or. It's both. Yes, the powerful abuse systems, and yes, regular people protect the narrative because it makes them feel safe. That's the uncomfortable part people keep dodging. Now let's talk about the biggest tell. Where is the prison energy? I'm serious. When the system wants somebody gone, the coverage looks different. The headlines look different. The questions get sharper. The pressure gets louder. The tone is not, let's be careful. The tone is, somebody needs to pay. But with this, the vibe is weird. It's not justice. It's not consequences. It's more like, let's talk around it. Let's report the drama. Let's cover the reaction. Let's keep it moving. And look, facts matter. I'm not saying throw facts away. I'm saying the difference in energy tells you what time it is, because the media knows how to apply heat. They do it all the time. So why doesn't it feel like heat here? Why does it feel like containment, like reputation management, like keep the public calm? Like, y'all can be mad, but don't start flipping tables. That's why people say, notice the mainstream isn't talking about justice. They're not talking about prisons. They're not talking about real consequences with that same chest. They're talking like this is a scandal, not a crisis. And when you point that out, folks act like you're crazy. They'll say, you're making it racial, or you're being extreme. No, I'm just watching the pattern because I've seen how fast the machine can move when it feels threatened. This is the accountability illusion. They give you enough headlines to feel like something is happening. They give you enough outrage to keep you busy, but not enough pressure to force actual outcomes. Then time passes. People get tired. People start arguing. People start policing each other's tone. And the story turns into, remember that crazy week? Instead of, remember when people got held accountable. And then there's the other weapon, overwhelm. Because that list be so packed, it start feeling like a multiverse. Like, bruh, how many characters are in this season? And people joke about it, but it's a real psychological effect. When something is too big, your brain stops trying to solve it. You either laugh or you shut down. That's why massive scandals don't always lead to massive change. They lead to massive fatigue. It turns into, well, everybody's evil anyway, which is the perfect conclusion for the system. Because if everybody is evil, then nobody is responsible. And if nobody is responsible, nobody has to pay. And that's why the chaos matters. Too many names, too many screenshots, too many half stories, too many people rushing to make a viral thread. It creates a fog. And in fog, accountability can't aim at anything. That's when memes take over. Jokes like, Trump's name mentioned more than Harry Potter's name in all the Harry Potter books combined. Funny, but also kind of heartbreaking because you can hear the powerlessness in it. People clown because they don't believe anything will happen. Overwhelm is a feature because it kills focus, and focus is what forces consequences. When focus dies, pressure dies. When pressure dies, the story becomes entertainment. Then what happens next is predictable. A new trend hits, a new villain hits, a new argument hits, and everybody who was shocked moves on like it was just content. And that's why I'm calling it out now. Because the double standard isn't just in who gets blamed, it's also in who gets forgotten and how fast. This is the part people hate hearing because it feels hopeless. But it's real. Most of these stories don't die because they get disproven. They die because people get tired. The cycle is always the same. Outrage hits. Everybody posts. Everybody argues. Everybody tries to be the loudest, funniest, angriest person in the room. Then the next phase kicks in. People start policing each other's tone more than they police the actual problem. That's when you start seeing the, well, actually crowd multiply. You're being divisive. You're making it about identity. You're generalizing. You're the real racist. And now the conversation becomes about how you said it, not what happened. That's the sweep. Not a dude with a broom in a back room. It's the public exhausting itself. It's the story getting turned into a performance instead of a demand. Then comes the boredom stage. People need new stimulation, new villain, new argument. And if the story doesn't produce a clean outcome fast, the internet treats it like a TV show that got canceled. And you know what's crazy? This is where the double standard comes back again. Because when it's certain groups, people don't get bored. They keep the label alive for years. They keep the stereotype warm like leftovers. But when it's powerful names, the public gets guided toward fatigue. Too messy, too big, too complicated, too many we don't knows. Then poof, everybody moves on and the system breathes again. This is the real point that sits underneath everything. Who gets humanity by default? Because humanity looks like this: individuality, complexity, second chances, benefit of the doubt. We don't want to generalize. We don't know the full story. Let's consider context. Meanwhile, other people don't even get the privilege of being complicated. They get reduced to a symbol, a headline, a stereotype, a warning label. And once you become a symbol, you can't win. Everything you do becomes evidence of the story people already wrote about you. That's why this isn't just unfair. It trains society. It trains kids. It trains employers. It trains teachers. It trains police. It trains media. It teaches everybody whose mistakes represent a person and whose mistakes represent a group. And when the Epstein stuff hits, that training gets exposed. Because if the list is majority white men and the reaction is still not all, let's be careful, then it proves something. It proves the bar for collectivizing whiteness is almost impossible to reach. But collectivizing blackness, that bar is on the floor. And some folks don't even notice they doing it because it's been normalized. That's why people get so defensive when you name it, because naming it breaks the spell. Now here's where I'm careful, because I'm not telling anybody to become hateful. I'm telling you to become consistent. Return the same energy doesn't mean become what you hate. It means stop giving people unlimited grace who would never give you the same. It means stop being so easy to pacify. Stop being so easy to distract. So here are 3 rules I personally use so I don't get emotionally recruited. Rule 1, I separate facts from framing. Facts are what's confirmed. Framing is how they want me to feel about it. Rule 2, I watch who gets individualized and who gets collectivized. That tells me who society thinks deserves humanity. If the language gets soft when it's them, but harsh when it's us, I already know what time it is. Rule 3, I don't let outrage replace standards. Outrage is easy. Standards are hard. Standards mean you apply the same rules no matter who's on the screen, even if it makes your own side uncomfortable. That's the only way you stop being played, because the system survives off people being inconsistent. It survives off people being loud for a week and silent for a year. The scariest part isn't that evil exists. We already knew that. The scariest part is the rules are optional. Optional depending on status. Optional depending on identity. Optional depending on whether the story threatens the group image. That's why people keep feeling like they're watching the same movie every year. Because you are. Different headline, same script. And then they act surprised when folks stop trusting the system. They act surprised when people stop believing in fairness. Bruh, fairness can't just be a slogan. It has to be a standard. So here's the question I want sitting in your head while you look at this whole moment.
Let me tell y'all one more thing that'll change how you watch the news forever. There's a script. And once you see the script, you'll start predicting the next headline before it even drops. The script goes like this. Step 1, shock. Breaking. Bombshell, new files. Step 2, distance, alleged, unverified. We don't know. Not because they suddenly love accuracy, because accuracy is a shield when the story is inconvenient. Step 3, sanitize the villain. You start hearing words like complicated, high profile, controversial. And when the suspect is from the protected group, it's always framed like a fall from grace, not a pattern of harm. Step 4, redirect the conversation. Instead of who's accountable, it becomes the internet is wild. It becomes look at the conspiracy theories. It becomes people are overreacting. Now the story is no longer the files. The story is your reaction to the files. Step 5, fatigue. They keep it muddy until you're exhausted. And once you're exhausted, you accept anything that feels like closure, even if nothing actually happened. And this is why I keep saying the double standard ain't just opinions. It's mechanics. It's a machine that knows how to protect power without saying we're protecting power. And if you're not paying attention, you'll think you're informed when you're really being guided. So yeah, when I look at this Epstein moment, I'm not just seeing a scandal. I'm seeing a mirror that shows who gets treated like an individual and who gets treated like a category, who gets nuance by default, and who has to earn basic humanity every single time. And what makes it worse is the performance. The same people who stay lecturing everybody about morality suddenly get real gentle. Suddenly it's be careful. Suddenly it's let's not generalize. Like, bruh, where was that energy when it was easy to blame a whole group for one headline? That's why I don't even get shocked anymore. I get focused. Because once you understand the rule switch, you stop getting emotionally recruited. You stop letting the story become memes and fatigue. You start demanding standards. The same standards for everybody. Here's my question for you. Do you think people really want justice, or do they just want comfort? They want the story to feel safe again so they can go back to sleep. Drop your honest answer in the comments. I'm reading everything. And look, the next video you need to watch is the one that breaks down how outrage gets manufactured on purpose, how the headlines steer you, how the internet gets used as the engine, and how the machine keeps protecting power without ever admitting it. It's gonna make this video look like the warm-up. Click now, and I'll see you on the next one. Panda out.